I had always been the dependable one, the one my family could count on whenever money was tight, bills were overdue, or someone needed a favor. It wasn't even a question anymore. If they were struggling, I'd step in. Rent? I covered it. Groceries? Bought them without being asked. Emergency expenses? I handled them quietly. But I never expected what happened next. One evening, my cousin, Lily, sent me a video. No message, just the clip. I pressed play, and my stomach dropped. It was a family gathering I hadn't been invited to. My mom, my aunt, my sister, and a few others were sitting around the living room, laughing and chatting. Then my sister scoffed. Ugh, she acts like she does so much, but honestly, she doesn't do enough. My mother nodded, rolling her eyes. Exactly. She helps, sure, but only when she feels like it. It's not like she's our only option. We just don't want to ask anyone else. My aunt smirked. Yeah, she's basically the last resort. If we really need something, we go to her. But trust me, it's not like she's that generous. Laughter filled the room. I felt my hands shake as I replayed the clip, hoping I had misheard. But no, these were the people I had sacrificed for, the people I had worked overtime for, and they were dismissing me like I was nothing. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't text my cousin back. I just sat there numb. That was the moment I decided I was done. I didn't announce it. I didn't warn them. I just stopped. The rent? Not paid. The grocery bill? Not covered. The emergency money they relied on? Gone. I waited. And soon, they realized. The first missed payment went unnoticed. At least, no one said anything right away. Maybe they thought I was just late this time, or maybe they assumed I'd send the money any moment. But then a week passed. My sister, Emma, was the first to call. Hey, did you forget about Mom's rent? She asked casually, as if I were her personal accountant. I took a deep breath. This was my chance. I wasn't going to explode. I wasn't going to cry. I was just going to let them feel what it was like without me. Nope, I said simply. Silence. Okay. Well, are you going to send it soon? Mom's stressing out, and she's going to be late on payments. I leaned back on my couch, staring at the ceiling. I'm not covering it anymore. Emma scoffed, like I had just told her the most ridiculous thing she'd ever heard. Wait, what? What do you mean? You always cover it. Not anymore. She went quiet for a second. Then her voice dropped into an annoyed tone. Okay, so what's the deal? You mad at something? You being petty over something stupid? I almost laughed. Oh, the irony. Nope, not mad. Just done. Her sigh was so exaggerated I could almost see her rolling her eyes. Oh my God, are you serious? You know Mom can't afford this on her own. You can't just stop out of nowhere. I can't, I said calmly. And I just did. She muttered something under her breath, probably calling me selfish or dramatic. Then she hung up. I put my phone down and exhaled. That was the first battle. But I knew the war was coming, and I was ready for it. It didn't take long for the rest of my family to react. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a message from my mom. Mom, hey sweetie. Hope you're doing okay. Emma said you were acting a little off yesterday. Is everything all right? Oh, so now I was acting off? Not that I had a good reason to be upset. Not that I had been overworked, underappreciated, and completely blindsided by their betrayal. I left her on read. By noon, the messages escalated. Mom, hey, I don't mean to rush you, but rent is late. You know how strict the landlord is. Then, an hour later, Mom, can you please call me? I sighed, staring at my screen. I knew exactly how this would go. If I answered, she'd guilt-trip me. She'd act like I was being unreasonable for stopping what I had been doing out of the kindness of my heart. But then, my phone rang. Not my mom. My Aunt Lisa. That was unexpected. I hesitated, but curiosity got the best of me. Hello. I answered. Sweetheart, what is going on? She said immediately, her voice already dripping with concern. Your mom just called me in tears. She says you're refusing to help her, and she doesn't know what to do. Oh, so now I was the villain? Lisa, let me ask you something, I said, keeping my voice steady. Did Mom tell you what she and the rest of the family said about me? There was a pause. I could practically hear the gears turning in her head. She just said you suddenly decided to stop helping. She doesn't understand why you're doing this to her. So she didn't mention how I've been paying rent, groceries, and bills for months while she and the others sat around complaining that I don't do enough? Silence. Then, a hesitant. I'm sure they didn't mean it like that. I almost laughed. That was always the excuse, wasn't it? Lisa, I'm done, I said firmly. I'm done being their ATM while they talk behind my back. They're grown adults. They can figure it out. But honey, it's family. You know how your mom is. She's just stressed. You can't take it so personally. Oh, so she can take my money personally, but I can't take her words personally? Make it make sense, Lisa. She huffed, clearly frustrated. You're being so harsh. You know they rely on you. That's the problem, I said. Lisa sighed. Well, don't say I didn't warn you. Your mom is really hurt. I didn't respond. I just ended the call. They wanted me to feel guilty, but I wasn't going to fall for it. Not this time. After my call with Aunt Lisa, I expected the guilt tripping to stop. I was wrong. The next morning, I woke up to 7 missed calls from my mom. My cousin Emma had also texted, along with a few of my aunts. The messages all followed the same script. Your mom is crying, call her back. How could you do this to your family? You need to fix this before it's too late. Too late for what? I groaned and tossed my phone on the bed. This was exactly why I had waited so long to set boundaries. I knew the moment I did, they'd act like I was the bad guy. I wasn't in the mood to deal with them yet. So I got up, made myself a cup of coffee, and tried to focus on work. But then, bang, bang, bang. Someone was at my door. I peered through the peephole. It was my mom. Of course. I took a deep breath and opened the door. She was already mid-rant. I have been calling you all morning. She snapped, barging in without an invitation. Why are you ignoring me? Mom, you don't live here. You can't just show up like this, I said, crossing my arms. She scoffed. I'm your mother. I can show up whenever I want. God, I hated that logic. What do you want? I asked, already exhausted. I want to know what's wrong with you. She threw her hands up. Why are you suddenly punishing us? Do you want us to get evicted? Is that it? I stared at her in disbelief. You really don't get it, do you? I said, shaking my head. Get what? That my own daughter suddenly turned on me. I exhaled slowly, trying to keep my temper in check. Mom, I heard you. I heard you, and everyone else talking about me like I was some lazy, useless burden. Meanwhile, I was the one keeping you all afloat. But apparently, I don't do enough. So now, you get to see what that actually looks like. Her face paled for a second, but then she quickly recovered. We didn't mean it like that, she said, waving her hand dismissively. You're just taking it too personally. Too personally? I laughed bitterly. That's all you have to say? No apology? No acknowledgement that what you said was messed up? Oh, so now I have to apologize for venting in my own home? She shot back. It wasn't just venting, Mom. It was cruel. And you don't even feel bad about it. She folded her arms. I don't have time for this. Are you going to help with rent, or not? I held her gaze. No. Her lips pressed into a thin line. Fine. But don't come crying to me when you need something. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I sat down, my heart pounding. I had just officially cut them off. And now, I had to deal with whatever came next. After my mom stormed out of my apartment, I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd take some time to cool off and reflect. Wishful thinking. Within hours, my phone started blowing up again. This time, it wasn't just my mom, it was everyone. My aunts, my uncles, even my younger cousins. The messages were all over the place. I don't know what's going on, but your mom is devastated. How could you do this to your own family? Wow, you really think you're too good for us now? And then, the kicker, Emma sent me a voice message. I hesitated before playing it, already knowing it would piss me off. But curiosity got the better of me. I don't know what you said to your mom, but she's been crying all day. She told everyone you abandoned her, that you don't care if she ends up on the street. She's been calling people asking if they can lend her money because her own daughter refuses to help her. I closed my eyes and pinched the bridge of my nose. Of course, not only was my mom refusing to take responsibility, but now she was playing the victim, and worse, she was dragging my name through the mud in the process. I wasn't about to let that slide. I took a deep breath and called Emma. She picked up on the first ring. Finally, what the hell is going on? She asked. Emma, did my mom tell you why I cut them off? She hesitated. Well, she said you just decided you didn't want to help anymore. That you got a big head about it. I laughed. Oh, really? Did she also mention that I heard her talking behind my back? That I was paying their bills while they sat around complaining that I didn't do enough? Or that they called me their last resort, while I was literally the only reason they weren't homeless? Silence. Then, finally, wait, what? Yeah, I said flatly. That's the part she didn't tell you, huh? Emma was quiet for a long time. I could hear her breathing, hear the wheels turning in her head. So what now? She finally asked. Now? I'm done, I said. They made it clear how they really see me. So, they can figure out how to survive without me. Emma let out a slow breath. This is going to cause a storm. You know that, right? Yeah, I said. Let them talk. I'm done being their ATM. I hung up before she could respond. And sure enough, by the end of the day, my mom had escalated. She wasn't just crying to family members anymore. She had gone to Facebook. And the smear campaign had officially begun. By the time I checked my phone again, my Facebook notifications were out of control. My mom had gone full drama mode. She had posted this long, heart-wrenching status about how she was betrayed by her own blood and was now facing homelessness because of my selfishness. The comments? A mix of sympathy and outrage, directed at me. How could your own daughter do that to you? Some people forget where they came from once they get a little money. You raised her, and this is how she repays you. It was a full-blown public shaming attempt. And the worst part? She tagged me in the post. I laughed, not out of humor, but out of pure disbelief. She wanted a war. Fine. I clicked the comment section and typed. Interesting how you left out the part where I was paying your rent for months while you sat around complaining that I didn't do enough. Maybe tell them why I really stopped helping. Boom. Within seconds, my comment had reactions. People started asking questions, poking holes in her sob story. And then, Emma texted me. Emma, OMG. Mom is livid. She just called me screaming about how you embarrassed her. Me? Oh, she embarrassed herself. I just added context. Emma, she's saying you ruined her reputation. She's talking about calling your job to tell them you're a bad person. Me? LOL, let her try. My job doesn't care about family drama. Not even an hour later, my mom deleted the post. Guess the truth was a little too inconvenient for her. But the damage had already been done. Family members who had blindly supported her were now questioning everything. Aunt Lisa, one of the few relatives I still liked, sent me a message. I didn't know she was saying that behind your back. You've done more for her than anyone. I'm sorry she put you in this position. Finally, someone got it. That night, for the first time in a long time, I slept peacefully. But little did I know, my mom wasn't done yet. She was about to take things to a whole new level. The morning after my mom's failed Facebook meltdown, I woke up to my phone blowing up again. Emma was calling. Repeatedly. I groggily answered, still half asleep. Me? Emma, what? It's early. Emma, you need to get up. Now. Me, why? Emma, Mom and Aunt Carla are at your apartment. I shot up in bed. What? I rushed to my window, and sure enough, there they were, standing outside my building. My mom had her arms crossed, and Aunt Carla was pacing, phone in hand, probably hyping her up. I felt my stomach tighten. This wasn't just another guilt-tripping call. This was a desperation move. I threw on some clothes and rushed downstairs. By the time I reached the lobby, my mom was already yelling at the intercom. I know you're in there. Come down and talk to me. I sighed. The security guard, Dave, gave me a look. They've been at it for a while, he muttered. I stepped outside, crossing my arms. Me? What are you doing here? Mom? Oh, now you have time to talk. Me? You didn't answer my question. Mom? We need to discuss the rent. There it was. I almost laughed. Me? There's nothing to discuss. I told you, I'm done. Aunt Carla. You're really going to let your own mother get evicted? Me? I'm really going to let my own mother deal with the consequences of her actions? Yes. My mom's face turned red. Mom, you ungrateful little. She lunged forward. Dave, the security guard, stepped between us. Ma'am, I need you to step back. She glared at him, then at me. Mom, you're going to regret this. One day, when you need help, don't expect anyone to be there for you. I felt a wave of calm wash over me. Because for the first time in my life, I didn't care. I turned on my heel, walked back inside, and shut the door. From behind me, I heard Aunt Carla mutter, "That girl has changed." And you know what? She was right. But they were the ones who made me change. After my mom's dramatic failed ambush, I expected some peace. I was wrong. Instead, my phone became a war zone. Emma sent me screenshots of family group chats blowing up. Aunt Carla. She's abandoned her own mother. After all she's done for her. Uncle Rick. Did she really cut everyone off over one little comment? Grandma. We need to pray for her. She's lost her way. I almost laughed. These people, the same ones who took my money without hesitation, were now playing the victims? Then Emma texted. Emma, Mom is trying to convince people you're on drugs. What? I immediately called her. Me. She's saying what? Emma, that you're acting irrational. That you're not yourself. That maybe you're into something illegal. Me. That's insane. Emma, it's desperate. And she was right. My mom had lost control over me, and now she was grasping at straws. I took a deep breath. I needed to make one thing clear. I texted the family chat. Since I stopped paying for everything, I've suddenly become a villain? Interesting. If you believe Mom's lies, that's on you. But I will not tolerate slander. If I hear any more false accusations, I will take legal action. Consider this your only warning. Silence. For the first time, the group chat was dead quiet. Then, Grandma, there's no need for that, dear. We just want to talk. Aunt Carla, this is how you treat family? Mom, you have no heart. I shook my head. They were never going to change. So I did what I should have done a long time ago. I left the group chat, and it felt amazing. That night, for the first time in years, I slept peacefully. No guilt, no stress, just freedom. But little did I know, my mom was planning one last, desperate move. I thought leaving the family chat would be the end of it. I was wrong. 3 days later, I got a call from my landlord. Landlord, hey, I just got an interesting phone call. Your mother claims you're mentally unstable and that I should evict you for your own safety. I nearly dropped my phone. Me, she what? Landlord, yeah. She said you've been acting erratic and might be a danger to yourself. I was stunned. First, she tried to ruin my reputation. Now, she was trying to get me thrown out of my home? Unbelievable. Me, you don't actually believe her, right? Landlord, chuckling, of course not. I told her unless I see actual issues, she has no say in this. I let out a long breath. At least my landlord wasn't an idiot. But the fact that my mom even tried this made my blood boil. I immediately called her. She didn't pick up. Of course, she didn't. So I texted. If you ever interfere with my housing again, I will press charges for harassment. Try me. No response. But Emma called me soon after. Emma, Mom's furious. Me. Good. She tried to get me evicted. Emma. Emma, I know. She told everyone she was just trying to help. I laughed bitterly. Help? She was trying to destroy me. Emma, she's been crying to Grandma, saying you threatened her. Me, I told her to stay out of my life. That's not a threat. That's a fact. Emma sighed. Emma, I think she's finally realizing she lost control over you. And honestly, that was her problem. I wasn't her ATM anymore. I wasn't her scapegoat anymore. I was done. And if she tried one more stunt, she'd regret it. The day of the family meeting arrived, and I was filled with a mix of anxiety and determination. Everyone was gathering at my parents' house to discuss family issues, but I knew what this really was, my mother's last-ditch effort to regain control over me and the situation. As I drove to their house, I mentally prepared myself. I wouldn't back down. When I arrived, the atmosphere was tense. I could see my mom pacing back and forth, her face flushed with anger. Dad, everyone, let's just sit down and try to have a civilized conversation. I glanced at my mom, who rolled her eyes dramatically. Mom, this isn't going to be a discussion. This is about my daughter being ungrateful. I took a deep breath, reminding myself to stay calm. Me, Mom, let's get one thing straight. I've been supporting you and this family for too long. And for what? To be called the last resort? My mom opened her mouth, but I raised my hand to silence her. Me, you don't get to rewrite history. I'm done being your emotional and financial crutch. I've had enough. Her expression shifted from anger to shock. Mom, you don't understand the pressure I've been under. You're my daughter, and I need you. I shook my head. Me. No, you need to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. I won't be there to bail you out anymore. Grandma, now. This is not the time for anger. We need to work this out as a family. But my resolve was firm. Me. No, Grandma. This is about accountability. Mom needs to understand that her actions have consequences. I could see my mom's face twitching with frustration, but I wasn't about to back down. Dad, I think we all need to take a step back and reflect on our roles in this family. Mom, I'm the one who's been holding this family together. Me, by using me as a pawn? That's not holding anything together. That's manipulation. The room fell silent, tension thick in the air. Emma, I think it's time we all acknowledge the truth here. We've relied on Opie for too long without any gratitude or respect. My mom shot daggers at Emma, but my sister stood her ground. Mom, How can you side with her after all I've done? Emma, you've done nothing but take. Mom, it's time you give something back. Finally, my mother's mask began to crack, and I could see the flicker of fear in her eyes. Me, I won't be a part of this anymore. I'm leaving, but I will not support you unless you genuinely change. If you want a relationship with me, you need to respect my boundaries. With that, I turned to leave, my heart pounding in my chest. As I reached the door, I heard my dad's voice behind me. Dad, wait. I paused, not turning around. Dad, I'm sorry. Opie, I should have done better. That was the first time I'd ever heard him say that. Me, thank you, Dad. But it's too late for me to stick around and keep enabling this. I walked out, feeling a mix of relief and empowerment. It was time for me to focus on my life, my happiness, and my future. In the aftermath of that family meeting, things were far from perfect, but they were different. My mom had to learn to live without my financial support. I moved on, finding peace and freedom from the chaos I'd been entangled in for so long. Sometimes, it takes a dramatic confrontation to reclaim your life and set boundaries. And for me, that moment was the start of a new chapter,